Welcome back to Real Sports Talk, home of the realest sports talk. I'm your host, Run It Up Rue, and today we talking the Arizona Cardinals off-season review. Yes, everything you need to know about the Arizona Cardinals, how they're going into the off-season, and how they hope to come out of the off-season going into 2025 with their best foot forward. We got some things to talk about. Is Kyler Murray the answer? Is Jonathan Gannon finally getting some heat out there in the desert? Is that seat too hot for him? We're going to discuss all that and more right after this. Let's go. The Arizona Cardinals finished in third place in the NFC West with an 8-9 record. It's not good enough. It's not good enough. It's not good enough. It's not good enough. Kyler Murray's not good enough. Is he? Overall record is 36 and 45 and 1. Since 2019, 36, 45 and 1. It's not even a winning record. That's not 500. It's not even 500. Should Cardinals be looking towards the future? Yes. Yes. Answer my own question. Yes. He threw for 3,851 yards, 21 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, but he was sacked 30 times. Offensive line is atrocious. It's atrocious. If we sit back and really think about Kyler Murray, when he came out, a lot of people said he's too small, but he got a hell of an arm and he's elusive. It's a lot of things you can do with an elusive quarterback, especially in today's NFL. But Kyler Murray just doesn't seem to get the job done on a consistent basis. And when he plays teams over 500, it never looks good. It never looks good. And I don't know. I'm not sure if it's a change of scenery that's needed for Kyler Murray, or if they're not implementing the system that best fits Kyler Murray, or if there's just a lack of talent around Kyler Murray. No quarterback can really win being sacked 30 times. No quarterback can really win being sacked 30 times. So, you can look at it from that perspective, or you can say he's just not clutch. As great as he is, as an elusive as he is, he's just not clutch. And I couldn't disagree with you there. I couldn't disagree with you there. He flames my Cowboys every time we play them, but other teams above 500, he has a very hard time with. Jonathan Gannon, 12 and 22. Should his seat be hot? I believe his seat is already hot out there. They finished the season 1 and 4 out of their last 5 games. Before that, it looked as though things were turning around out there. It did look like things were turning around for Jonathan Gannon and the Arizona Cardinals. But then they regressed right at the end of the season, 1 and 4 in their last 5 games. Somebody has to answer for that. Since 2019, when Murray was drafted, the team has gone 5, 10, and 1, 8 and 8. Their best season was in 2021, where he ended with an 11 and 6 record. He followed that up going 4 and 13 in 2022 and 2023. Lastly, finishing up with an 8 and 9 record last season. That's not all on Kyler Murray. That's not all on Kyler Murray, but a lot of blame does fall on Kyler Murray. He had Cliff Kingsbury as his coach before. It didn't work with them, but it seems as though he's regressing even further under Jonathan Gannon. And I'm not sure if those two guys work well together. I'm not sure if Jonathan Gannon is putting Kyler Murray in the best situation as possible. They've had some whiffs on the draft. That could be a reason as to why the record and him being sacked 30 times is happening. But overall, Jonathan Gannon, to me, is not getting the job done, and he's going into this season with a pretty hot seat. Depending on how they start this next season in 2025, he may not even last the whole season. But that's my opinion as far as Jonathan Gannon. The biggest team needs going into the 2025 season. They have a lot of holes. Now they have $70 to $80 million of cap space to play around with. So could free agency play a bigger role in filling in those holes on the roster? I believe so. I can see them guys out there maybe picking up a veteran guard or offensive tackle, which is one of their key needs in this offseason. Possibly maybe even trying to throw some more money at that defensive line. You have some guys out there like Myles Garrett, who just requested a trade from the Cleveland Browns. Could he be a person of interest for the Atlanta Falcons? But they definitely need defensive line. They need an elite edge rusher. Okay, they need to be able to get to the quarterback. Last season, the defense was terrible, especially in clutch moments. They couldn't get people off the field when they needed to, and they couldn't get to the quarterback. They could not sack the quarterback at a consistent rate. So they need an elite edge rusher. Interior defensive line, they also can use that, maybe a three tech or a one tech. They definitely need. I would say most likely a one tech, but maybe a hybrid, maybe somebody who could play 3-1. But they definitely need some interior presence as well. Now, the fans of Arizona have been put through a lot. They have been put through a lot out there in Arizona. Like I said, since Kyler Murray has been there, 5-10-1, 8-8, 11-16 was a good season for them in 21. 4-13 in 2022 and 2023 is probably where a lot of the fan base said they were done with Kyler Murray, right? But going 8-9 in 2024, it just didn't help anything. Now they did draft magnificent wide receiver. The guy's probably going to be top 3 wide receiver in the NFL, if not 1 or 2, when it's all said and done. Now, they need another wide receiver to pair with Marvin Harrison Jr., specifically a speed wide receiver, somebody that can help take the pressure off of Marvin Harrison Jr., somebody that can beat the defense deep. Marvin Harrison isn't a speedster. He's a route technician, great hands, good length, 50-50 guy, contested, but you need somebody that the defense has to chase, right? They have to pay attention to him strictly because he can blow past you. So they need some more help out there. They need some more juice. Opposite of Marvin Harrison Jr. They need it in the worst way, right? They also need cornerback play. Very bad. Inside linebacker as well, but cornerback could be in the top 2 picks for the Arizona Cardinals. I can see them going cornerback first or second, maybe even third, top 3 pick for sure. Now they need a playmaker. I just said they need a speed wide receiver to pair alongside Marvin Harrison, whether it came as a stud running back, another wide receiver, maybe a slot wide receiver, maybe a tight end who can really kill somebody going down the seam. They need more playmakers. Whatever they do this offseason, it has to be to bring in more playmakers. Now they own the 16th, 47th, 78th, 114th, and 151. So they own all of their 5 draft picks this season going into the draft. Hopefully, them guys use it to the best of their ability. Like I said, I can see cornerback going in the top 3. I can see a running back being taken in the first 2 or 3. I can see a wide receiver actually being a number 1 pick. But if I was a betting man, which I am, I would say wide receiver at number 16. And now I know they just picked a wide receiver first last year, Marvin Harrison Jr., but they need juice. If they're going to stick with Kyler Murray, they need to give him more weapons. They just can't have Kyler Murray throwing to Marvin Harrison Jr. every play. It won't work, right? Now, James Conner is a stud of a running back. I believe if they brought in a running back to pair with him, that would bring some juice. He's a hard runner, right? He looks for contact. He looks to break through the contact. So get them a guy who's a speedster, wants to hit the outside gap, zone gap. Just throw a totally different scheme at you when this guy's on the field. That in itself could bring juice to that offense. Kyler Murray, like I said, is very elusive. So he could, utilize another elusive player in the backfield. So that is something to look out for. Now, as far as coaching changes, excuse me for if I mispronounce his last name, Sam Sifkis, linebackers coach. He took the defensive coordinator job at Virginia Tech. So they're going to have to replace Sam, as well as the biggest loss of the offseason was Clayton Adams. He left to be the offensive coordinator for my Dallas Cowboys. Now, I sat back and watched a few Arizona Cardinal podcasters just to get a sense of how they've truly felt about the loss, and they were hurt, very hurt. He was highly respected in the building, highly looked at as somebody who could command a room, somebody who has an offensive philosophy in the run game that will serve us well in Dallas. So for the Arizona Cardinals, Clayton Adams is a huge loss and one that they're going to have to fill sooner than later, most definitely. Now, can the Cardinals improve on this 8-9 season and make the playoffs? I believe if they do certain things in this draft and free agency, they'll be right there. I think Kyler Murray is not a quarterback that's reached his ceiling, but I think that he's plateaued with this coaching staff right now and this organization. They have to get him more weapons. They just have to get him more weapons. And if they do that, I believe that they can be a playoff team. Now, as well, they need a cornerback. They need to be able to get to the pass rusher, right? But it has to start somewhere. So it's gonna be very curious to see how the Arizona Cardinals choose to use their cap space, how they choose to fill the holes in their coaching staff, and more importantly, what do they do with their first 2 picks in this NFL draft? Because I believe their draft will be based off the first 2 picks here. Like I said, last season they drafted Marvin Harrison Jr. first overall. Does not mean you can't go back into this offseason, into this draft, and say, give me another wide receiver. If you look at all the successful quarterbacks in the league, they have multiple weapons on the offense. Not just guys who play hard, but actual talent. That's what the Arizona Cardinals need. They need juice. Kyler Murray needs it in the worst way, because I don't believe that they'll go with Jonathan Gannon or Kyler Murray for much longer without some form of success. So they're going to have to show some form of progression going into this 2025 season. That wraps up the Arizona Cardinals offseason review on my end. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, I had to keep it real. Let's go.